Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Great. I can hear you loud and clear. Let's wait for the green badge so I can pull people up. Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone had a blessed night. I was telling Bob and Lee and Tom that here in Mexico it's 5:30 in the morning and we are already at 82. So it was really hot here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good morning, Adriana. Great to see a picture of Vera with you.
Okay, we'll be ready to start in just a minute. Today's workbook lesson 141. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. All right, Papa, it's you and me, baby. You ready?
Yep.
All right.
Can you give me moderation, please, so I can?
Oh, all those things. I forgot about doing those things. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. What else did I forget to do? Oh, pin a link. I'll pin a link. That's a different song than usually plays right now. I must have turned on the mix it up thing. I did. There we go. I turned on the random thing, and I'm used to these songs going in order. There we go. That's the order I'm used to. What are you tapping at, Papa?
I'm looking at the pictures.
Oh,
You picking up that too? Boy, sound got a lot better, perhaps.
I know. I fixed it the other day.
Well, I was
All
hoping that
right.
the yesterday's adjustments would
Oh,
help, and maybe it has. Well, it's great.
maybe it
It's all good.
has. Yeah, maybe
It's all
maybe
better.
it's fantastic now.
Good.
All right, here we go. Review number 4. So if you've been with us for a little bit, you know that every once in a while we go back and we review the lessons that we've just gone through. This is the 4th one of the year, and we're going to go through lessons, the last 20 lessons or so, 121 through 140. And there's a whole different kind of feeling to each of these reviews. And this latest one is going to be about getting ready for the atonement and things like that. And it's really kind of the meat before we hit the halfway point. Okay, now we review again. This time we are preparing for the second part of learning how the truth can be applied. Today, we will begin to concentrate on readiness for what will follow next. Your readiness for the lessons that will follow is our aim for this review and for the lessons following. Thus, we review the recent lessons and their central thoughts in such a way as will facilitate the readiness of what we would now achieve. There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review we undertake, which can be simply stated in these words: my mind holds only what I think with God. That my mind holds only what I think with God is a fact and represents the truth of what, with a capital W, what you are, and what, with a capital W, your Father is. Represents the truth of what you are and what your Father is. It is this thought that my mind holds only what I think with God, by which the Father gave creation to the Son, establishing the Son as co-creator with himself. It is this thought that my mind holds only it is this thought that my mind holds only what I think with God, that fully guarantees salvation to the Son. For in the Son's mind no thoughts can dwell, but those his Father shares. Lack of forgiveness blocks this thought that my mind holds only what I think with God from the Son's awareness. Yet this thought that my mind holds only what I think with God is forever true. Let us begin our preparation with some understanding of the many forms in which the lack of true forgiveness may be carefully concealed, because these blocks to forgiveness are illusions. This is super important. These blocks of forgiveness are illusions. We sure think we can never forgive these people, but holy cow, we've got to get rid of that illusion faster than anything else. These blocks to forgiveness are not perceived to be, but what they are: defenses that protect your unforgiving thoughts from being seen or recognized. Oh, and that is what they are. And they're the things that get in my way so often. Just highlighting this so I don't forget it for later on. All right. Sentence 3. The purpose of these blocks to forgiveness is to show you something else and hold correction off through self-deceptions made to take true forgiveness's place. And yet your mind holds only what you think with God. Your self-deceptions cannot take place of the truth. No more than can a child who throws a stick into the ocean change the coming and going of the tides, the warming of the water by the sun, the sliver of moon on the ocean by night. Could be silver too. Silver, that's silver, not sliver. Okay, the silver of the moon on the ocean by night. So do we start each practice period in this review with readying our minds to understand the lessons that we read and see the meaning that those lessons offer us. Begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind to learn what each idea will review that day can offer you in freedom and peace. Fantastic. Open your mind and clear your mind of all thoughts that would deceive. And let this thought that my mind holds only what I think with God alone engage your mind fully and remove the rest. My mind holds only what I think with God. 5 minutes with this thought that my mind holds only what I think with God will be enough to set the day along the lines which God appointed, and to place God's mind in charge of all the thoughts you will receive that day. Hey, Papa, could you pick up this paragraph number 6 for me? It's all the thoughts you will receive that day will not come from you alone, for those thoughts will all be shared with God. You got it. You saw it.
You're muted, Paul.
Almost. He almost got the mute off. I saw him. He almost got it off. I thought you were looking down to get it. So, paragraph 6. All the thoughts
All
you
the
will
thoughts
receive.
you will receive that day will
Thank you,
not come
Papa.
from you alone, for those thoughts will all be shared with God. And so each thought will bring the message of God's love to you, returning messages of your love to God. So will communion with the Lord of hosts be yours, as God himself has willed communion to be between Father and Son. And as God's own completion, which is you, joins with God, so will God's completion join with you, who are complete, as you unite with God and God with you. After your preparation, merely read each of the 2 ideas assigned to you to be reviewed that day. Then close your eyes and say the 2 ideas assigned for your review slowly to yourself. There is no hurry now, for you are using time for time's intended purpose, which is your reawakening. Let each word shine with the meaning God has given it, as each word was given to you through God's voice. Let each idea which you review that day give you the gift that God has laid in each idea for you to have of God. And we will use no format for our practicing but this. I'm going to tell it to you in just a minute. Each hour of the day, bring to your mind the thought with which the day began, that my mind holds only what I think with God, and spend a quiet moment with that thought. Then repeat the 2 ideas you practiced for the day unhurriedly, with time enough to see the gifts that the 2 ideas for the day contain for you, and let the gifts be received where the gifts were meant to be. We had no other thoughts, but let these be the messages that these 2 ideas for the day are. We need no more than these 2 ideas for the day to give us happiness and rest, and endless quiet, perfect certainty, and all our Father wills that we receive. It's gone, Lee. Okay. And let me see, where was I?
I'm so
Oh
sorry,
my
Papa.
goodness. That's okay. We'll find it again. Well, each day of, I'm going to start at paragraph 9. We had no other thoughts, but let these be the messages that these 2 ideas of the day are. We need no more than these 2 ideas for the day to give us happiness and rest and endless quiet, perfect certainty, and all our Father wills that we receive as the inheritance we have of our Father. Each day of practicing, as we review, we close as we began, repeating first the thought that my mind holds only what I think with God, which made the day a special time of blessing and of happiness for us, and through our faithfulness restored the world from darkness to the light, from grief to joy, from pain to peace. from sin to holiness. God offers thanks to you who practice thus the keeping of God's word. And as you give your mind to the ideas for the day again, before
sorry.
you sleep, God's gratitude surrounds you in the peace wherein God wills you be forever, and are learning now to claim that peace again, as your divine inheritance.
God, it must be so frustrating reading a book and having somebody else turn the pages for you. I just can't even imagine. I'm so sorry, Papa.
Well, you know what? I may just read from the regular book. If it happens again, it's okay.
Yeah.
So Tom has some notes to review number 4.
All right, here we
Are
go.
you going to read those?
Review of Workbook Lessons 121 through 140, Introduction. The lessons 141 through 150 are a review of Workbook Lessons 121 through 140. The next 10 lessons are actually a review of the previous 20. That helps. Each day, you will be asked to review 2 of the previous lessons with an emphasis on one of the prior lessons in either your morning or evening session. I will not be providing any additional notes regarding these review lessons since they are brief, self-explanatory, and designed for the inner contemplation of those prior lessons to prepare you for the lessons that will follow. I would suggest that you review the notes that were given for each original lesson that you're focusing on during that session. And we will. Thanks for the suggestion. For example, 141 covers 121 and 122. Assuming your morning session will focus on lesson 121, I suggest you review the notes for session 121, along with the reading of the main idea of lesson 122. In your evening session, you would review the notes for lesson 122, along with reading the main idea of lesson 121. Remember to begin each session with the thought that my mind holds only what I have with God. You will be amazed at the new insight that each review will provide. What seemed obscure a few days ago may now appear obvious. Enjoys these reviews. In every day, but I can remember that the first time through, the second time through, it surely wasn't obvious. And it was only in the review sessions that you started to get a glimmer of how the lesson shows up every single day in whatever we're doing. Every single day we've got it. All right. Lesson 141. Do you want to read this, Papa?
Yes, and I'm going to also mention something, but I'll read it first.
Okay.
So the overarching and repeated for the next 10 lessons thought is, my mind holds only what I think with God. And the first 2 lessons that we're reviewing is, or the theme, forgiveness is the key to happiness. And the second one is, forgiveness offers everything I want. And that's it. And what I'm going to say about this is kind of personal. It's the way I review these kinds of lessons, especially in the reviews, is he's telling us really to parse every single word that's in here. And when he says take time with this, that means to me is, if I say forgiveness, I don't just read the word through and, in a sense, just memorize it for some test someday. It's taking each word and cherishing it. and wondering what God has for me in that word, in that sentence. And that may seem like a real drag at times. But what we're doing here in these 10 reviews is reviewing stuff to make sure that it sinks in solidly. So if I say forgiveness is the key to happiness, and I'm just going to use that as an example. When I say the word forgiveness, I'll ask in my mind, just without any words, or look for something that God is sending me to make forgiveness deeply understood at that moment. That's how it becomes personal. That's how it becomes what we think, and not just something that we remember from the past. It's today, and we're remembering that forgiveness is the key. Not was the key, is the key to happiness. Do I want happiness? Sure. Is it promising anything else at the moment? No, it's promising happiness. So I will go with that today. And that's what I mean by letting it sink in and letting God make it really clear to us what each of the words means. That's why the overarching idea, my mind holds only what I think with God, is repeated every day for the 10 lessons. So we're going to see what these things are in a deeper and deeper way. And frankly, I don't know about y'all, but every time I read these lessons, they do get deeper and deeper. They become more a part of what I am, because that is what the mind is. The spiritual essence that we talked about yesterday is basically a bag full of ideas. We want to make sure that we get these ideas as deeply as possible and as personally as possible, because we're thinking about that with God. So those are my thoughts. That was the first one. The second one is forgiveness offers everything I want. Well, it goes way beyond happiness. It offers a lot of stuff, but I don't get those things unless I forgive. What things do I get? Everything I want. That's pretty deep. That's pretty awesome and all inclusive. So those are my thoughts, and I will take the time, especially these review lessons. I remember the first time I went through this, it was more like, oh yeah, I remember that one, and that was it. And I just went through it quickly. But I allow it now with the review to sink in and make sure I understand all of the things that it means, so that I'm prepared for what is to follow, as we were told. So, thank you. That's my thoughts on this.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read the lesson now then. Lesson 141 was a summary, and
Just
there's
in
a
case I
little
didn't
tiny
get it right.
instruction. Well, you didn't read it. There was general instructions, and then the next page was this. But you gave us your thoughts, which is really important too. So I'm going to go and read what was in the book. Forgiveness, the first one, 121. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. 122. Forgiveness offers everything I want. And again, he did read the instructions. Each session with time devoted to preparing your mind to learn today's lesson. Tom had suggested we go back and read the notes from whichever one we were supposed to focus on, but let's clear our mind of all thoughts that would block communication with God, and let this thought that my mind holds only what I think with God engage your mind fully. After your preparation, read each of the 2 ideas assigned today for your review, then close your eyes and say the 2 ideas slowly to yourself. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. There is no hurry. Let each idea which you review today give you the gifts that the Holy Spirit has prepared for you. This is the only format for your practice periods. Once again, begin with the thought that my mind holds only what I think with God, followed by forgiveness is the key to happiness, and forgiveness offers everything I want. At this point, we could have gone back and read the lessons, the notes from either of the two lessons. Tom, I don't know if there was a clear suggestion in here which one you wanted the notes on, but I think we're probably at a point where we could have a nice, quiet meditation around this as well.
That's fine. Did you want to just do the meditation? I mean, do you want me to do the meditation now, or do you want to?
Sure, go ahead and do the meditation. Yeah, I don't have any way of getting it right, wrong, or indifferent, so I can only trust that God is pushing us in the right direction. I'll just be quiet.
Okay. All right. So why don't we take this lesson to heart, and we're going to just rest in these ideas today. In this world of perception, our function is forgiveness, our purpose is love, and our destiny is the peace of God. So today, let's work on those three things. And let's get into a comfortable position. Could be for some feet flat on the floor, for others, might have your uh, back straight, sitting on the floor in a lotus position, half lotus, whatever. Uh, Others might actually even choose to want to try and stay awake, but get comfortable and just listen to yourself and your voice for your true identity. Our function, love is our purpose, and our destiny is the peace of God. So become aware of the body and the breath. And as you watch the breath, the falling of the chest going up and down, and realize that this body, but is your game token that we need if we are to have a place in space and time, the world of perception. Maybe turn down the music a little, Lee.
I sure can.
And in the world of perception, this is a world based on our beliefs. It's a world of perception. There's the up, down, the depth, the height, those three of the cube, physical. And then there's the fourth dimension is time. And although all time or all events are present and available, the past, as we place our attention on it. The fifth dimension in the world of perception is beliefs. And it is our beliefs that color our world. So as we watch the body, become aware of your essence, which is not the body, but light, energy. And that essence, find the center of it. Might be your heart, might be the third eye, wherever you perceive that essence, the center of your beingness. And rise above the body and just hover above that body for a moment. And just watch it as it sits, lays, relaxed, comfortable, and become aware of your true essence, your light, and let that light fill the room. As the light brightens, the room itself tends to kind of fades away through the blindness of the light so bright, and the room can no longer contain it, and it bursts forth outside of the room, filling the neighborhood, and know that that is what you are. And as a decision maker, you can choose to focus your light wherever you choose and rise above the ground, the town, and just move out so that you could view the whole planet. And as you view that, how is the planet looking? Is it cloudy? Is it open? Just know that light and let your light shine. And if the planet appears cloudy, let your light, which is really your love, shine out upon that planet. And realize as you yourself perceived to be grievances, thoughts that you believed needed to make you happy. As you forgive those things and realize what you truly are, which is light, shine your forgiveness, your love upon that world and see the clouds dissipate as your light pierces through any darkness. See that light like the sun brightening up your world. Your function is forgiveness. Your purpose is love, and your destiny is the peace of God. And true forgiveness is an unconditional pardon of all the wrongs I accused another of performing when they were merely fulfilling their assigned role in the events on which I came to place my awareness. In the world of perception, true forgiveness is based on the big picture fact that we are all willing volunteers. The events of this world have no ability to rob you of your inner peace. We have come here for the personal experiences that this fear based median of time and space provides. Each participant must assume a particular role in the event to gain the personal experiences and learning lessons that the events provide. The world of perception is a world of seeming separation. Good and bad guys are needed to add some drama, fun, and excitement to the events. This creates different possible choices to demonstrate how you will choose to apply your principles in specific situations. Better feedback on what you currently value is available because of these different possible choices. In time and space, in this world of perception, we are given the ability to test and hone our skills. Your goal is to determine freely your own self-identity and to reclaim the truth of what you are. And freedom is the capacity of each person as an individuated aspect of consciousness, part of that one self, perfect, whole, and complete, to decide what their identity as a individual aspect and in this world of form as the body token of a person will be by deciding the principles by which your life on this game board will be guided and how you will choose to apply those principles in specific circumstances of choice. Time and space provides that game board where we get to be and demonstrate what we truly value. Your function is forgiveness. Your purpose is love, and your destiny, peace of God. And as you look about on that planet, realize that this is just a game board where we can demonstrate appearance. There is something other than ourselves. But as we hover above, we realize that we are only light and that this game board is just designed as our play school so that the individuated aspects of the one self, part of the wholeness, can demonstrate specific aspects of that one self. Through our demonstrations of forgiveness, of being love informed, the abstract oneself demonstrates, be, and is that one. God, cause, we effect, two sides of one inseparable coin. And as we demonstrate love and forgiveness, the abstract knows itself. The destiny, your destiny, even in time and space, in this world of perception, is the peace of God. Let us rest in that knowing that we are light. And as we look about, see the other actors, the planet, also their true form, energy, and that there is only light, surrounded by light, that we are joined as that one self, perfect, whole, and complete. No separation, only light. One huge sun, shimmering, sending out love that permeates the entire essence. No separation, no being, no end. The energy of love. Just rest there in that knowing. The love of God. this lesson asks us to realize that our true identity, our actual beliefs, are only what we share or think with God, the truth of what we are. Forgiveness is the key to happiness, and forgiveness in the world of perception, in the world of time, space, beliefs. Forgiveness offers everything I really want, because it is through that forgiveness, us forgiving our world, ourself, our illusion that we could be something other than pure energy, love in form. That was just a mistake, a belief. And well, you might use the term mistake, but in reality, it's just us as an inquisitive adventurer wanting to demonstrate what we truly are. And the world of perception, this fear-based planet, gives us that ability, that play school to demonstrate that. Because in the world of perception, we have what appears to be opposite. But as we look upon the world, we see it's only light, and our brothers and sisters, and the world itself is all that light beaming out. And now let us place our attention back on burning through with forgiveness as we see our neighborhood reappearing, and we start focusing our attention, perception, start becoming token, energy pump, and letting that energy circulate through the body as you reconnect to the game token, and allow that energy to circulate, revitalizing, rejuvenating the game token, seeing the level of the power, the energy to reconnect come up, feel revitalized, and realize that in time and space, we need that body as a neutral communication device so that we could communicate with our sisters, our brothers, all forms of individuated consciousness that have volunteered to play actors on this stage that we call planet Earth, and forgive and them of all the roles that they've been assigned, realizing that we need those roles so that we can hone our skills in being love in form. And as you connect it to the body and you feel complete, let's realize that today we will fulfill our function of forgiveness, our purpose of love, and we will reclaim our destiny of our true reality. which is the peace of God. When you feel comfortable, take a deep breath and open your eyes, aware that this is another day where you get to be and demonstrate what you truly are. God's beloved child, perfect, whole, and complete. Thank you. Namaste. The God in me sees and recognizes the God in you.
Thank you, Tom. These review lessons are a little bit different than the others, but they give us a really good chance to realize impatient. And I'm learning one day at a time that the more patient I am, the faster I can get some things done. And so this is one of those things that I take to heart and let God work.
Good morning, everybody. I'm grateful for Tom's meditations. I really love them, and it's beautiful how everything lands in place, right? But today, I don't know why I was dreams. That part of our consciousness, that the dream within the dream, because there's sometimes from my experience, and I don't know, I, I don't know if this is so related to what we are talking today, but in my experience, in my personal experience, dreams are really, really like intense. I mean, the images, I can even have smells in dreams and all the feelings, and I can at the next day remember a lot of details. And last night I had two separate dreams, but they both had similarities, like different. One was at night, for example, with fireworks, and the other one was during daylight, with the sun giving like a wave of expansion, like if the sun was it wasn't bad because I didn't feel like it was going to be bad, but the sun gave like this huge expansion wave towards the air, so I could see it through the sky, the expansion wave, and then some flares coming from the sky. It was just weird. So my mind is still like caught up with those ideas, images. I was trying to focus on the meditation, but I was like almost falling asleep because I'm tired. I woke up at 3 a.m. and then I fall back asleep to the second dream that I told you, that the sun. So if my mind, if my mind, Lee, can you please share the screen with the notes, please, with the text? Thank you. If the content of my mind is what I think with God, so I'm really like curious, what is all about the dreams? Because my dreams are really, really like, I don't know, Steven
They're
Spielberg movies.
dreams that help you in the dream, and dreams that give you keys to unlocking the dream that we live in every day. I think I've never heard anybody get on their dreams like you do. It's amazing. Every single morning you can tell me exactly what you dreamt, and I find it incredible because I barely remember any dreams ever. but they sure seem helpful to you. You seem to be able to pull out something that's helpful for you that day. I think that's wonderful.
Well, I have this message here in the back channel from I know, the purple rose
I
in our
love that
audience,
person.
and she said, and she or he, I'm sorry, says, in a way, the dreams tell us we are living in the dream. In a way, dream tell us we are living. I guess is what
It's the
we are living
truth,
in the dream. Yeah, yeah, I don't know,
right?
but I wonder about the dreaming part of our illusions.
Sure.
And my
Well,
mind
I
really
invited them
just
up in case they
tickled
want to share
those
too.
right now. Yeah. If somebody has any share about dreaming or about the comments today, sorry, about the lesson, please come forward. I just wanted to share this because I couldn't focus on the meditation today. My mind is really like engaged with the two dreams that I had last night. So, well,
That's all right. I turned hand raising off and I've turned it back on. And if you're down in the audience and you'd like to join us, please do. Rosa, I'm glad you're back. And anybody else who wants to share, you're welcome to as well.
were
So,
you able to share the screen in the Zoom meeting, honey?
yes, it should
Thanks.
be back up.
No, here in my screen I don't see it. I don't know if Bob sees
All right,
the
I'll
book.
fix it.
No, Bob either.
No,
Thank you. I don't see it yet. Ah, yeah. No.
no problem. Sometimes I just need to know. Thank you. All
I
right,
want to
go ahead.
share something while you're considering that, Adriana. I said yesterday that, or maybe it was the day before, talked about something called the overview effect. And the overview effect was it started as a conference started by a man named David Beaver around 2000 and in the early 2000s. And around 2008, I think he had this big conference, and it was with most of the previous astronauts who, without exception, referred to the idea of being in space and beyond the little blue ball called the Earth, how their consciousness expanded and they saw the world in a very new and different way because they were able to rise beyond it and look at it instead of being on the Earth and trying to figure out what's going on the Earth. Um, David is studied physics and quantum physics and all of those things. I happen to know him for the simple reason that he is the longest teaching teacher of A Course in Miracles. He started teaching way back, close to, well, over 40 years, something like 48 exactly. And he has a continuous, as it has been continuous longer than anybody else on record. And I only mention that because there's a way that people can connect some of the things we're learning with the physical world that they're aware of. Tom usually starts his beautiful meditations with having us recognize that we are something above our body. There's, and then looking down on the body, seeing it as a separate thing. And that's exactly the same idea as the overview effect. The astronauts came from all different religions and backgrounds and studies. But in this one area of being able to see themselves apart from the earth, of which they were always a part of until the moment that they could separate from it, is profound. And it's one of the first things. Tom usually starts the meditations off with that. And David Beaver, he's a piece of work. Not everybody tends to agree with everything he says. That's okay. But he's definitely a student of all of these kinds of things, and I'm very fond of him. So I just wanted to add the second part of what I was starting to say the other day, that this overview effect is just like the spirit that we are, being able to finally look down on our bodies and not only as a part of. I think that's primary to visualizing life and God as it really is. Well, thank you for that.
Thanks, Papa. All right, it seems like the Facebook stream ended because my network quality is so bad, but the YouTube one is still hanging on in there. And so if anybody wants to go back and listen, we'll have the reviews on Twitch and YouTube and A Course in Miracles.live. And happy Saturday. I hope you have a great one. You don't have to leave. We're just at about an hour's in, so I wanted just to do a quick check and let everybody know we start at about 6:30 every single morning. Tomorrow we'll do lesson 142. And thanks for being here today, and as many times as you've been here before. Appreciate it. And it's okay if nobody feels moved to talk as well. We can hold this space for a little while longer. We can replay past things, or I can go back and read the notes from either lesson 121 or lesson 122, if you guys would like. It might be helpful. What do you say, Papa?
I think it would be good to read the notes from 121, and because that's how we start this process of reviewing, and they're always applicable, and they might just inspire us to think along certain lines. I would go with that.
All right.
Go
The
ahead.
notes to lesson 121. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Lesson 121 is the key to my happiness. Is a very important lesson. Lesson 121. Forgiveness is the key to my happiness. Is a very important lesson. What true forgiveness involves will be a main topic in the next 20 workbook lessons. Although this lesson states that forgiveness is the key to your happiness, it fails to define what true forgiveness is. Instead, it states that forgiveness is an acquired talent. It's not something that is a natural part of the shared mind of God that cannot sin. Since sin is an idea that arose within the split mind that believed itself to be separate from the one self, sin itself is an illusion. Since we taught ourselves that sin was real by arguing for our little s self, forgiveness must be learned by ourselves as well. Forgiveness undoes our belief in our little s self. True forgiveness is the key to happiness, since it alleviates the natural negative consequences that plague the mind that suffers from its belief in the reality of sin. The ego is incapable of teaching us how to forgive anyone, including ourselves, since the ego's thought system is based on the false belief that sin or lack is the reality of our world. Believing lack to be real, your ego will never question the reality of its belief in sin. Sin sits at the foundation of the ego's fear-based thought system. It is impossible to escape your belief in lack, limitation, and sin within the same fear-based thought system whose sole purpose is to provide false evidence to perpetuate the myth about your existence as a separate, limited, egoic being. ACIM states that if one is to understand true forgiveness, one needs to seek a different teacher who knows the truth of who you really are. Only the Holy Spirit understands that you remain as God created you, perfect, whole, and complete. This voice for God and your higher self both understand that your ego's imaginings that arose from your belief in separation are not real and have no ability to change the truth of who you really are. Only the split-minded need to learn what true forgiveness involves. Because your ego believes that sin is real, your ego is constantly arguing for the rightness of its own erroneous beliefs rather than for your happiness. The ego's thought system is based on the belief that there are outside forces that need to behave in a certain way in order for you to be happy. A grievance arises anytime someone or something fails to perform according to your ego's plan for your happiness. Your ego then judges the other party as having wronged you, and then argues for the rightness of its own judgment that condemns that party. While arguing for the rightness of its own plan, your ego attempts to manipulate or punish the offending party in order to get its own way. Your ego needs to be right. Your ego's need to be right trumps your desire to be happy. Your ego fails to realize that when you imprison another, you too, as their jailer, must remain in that same prison to ensure the perpetrator does not escape from your justice. Both remain caged in the prison of your own unforgiving mind. An unforgiving mind does not question because it knows it is right. An unforgiving mind is full of fear and trapped within a thought system that prevents love from entering. An unforgiving mind is sad, suffers, and abides in misery, doubt, anger, and constant fear. Because it believes sin to be real, an unforgiving mind demands punishment, penance, and retribution for those wrongs. Since an unforgiving mind perceives sin instead of error, sin requires punishment and damnation, rather than just correction as an error would require. The unforgiving mind never questions the correctness of its own judgment. Your physical senses are told to seek and find evidence that confirms your ego's beliefs that this is a sinful world. The evidence is then used to perpetuate your ego's belief and viewpoint that its sinful outside world is correct, irreversible, and unchangeable, reflects a sinful you. You remain a victim of powers that are beyond your control. In lessons ahead, we will continue to discover what true forgiveness entails and why it is the key to the lessons ahead, we will continue to discover what true forgiveness entails and why it is the key to true happiness. As a side note, is forgiveness an attribute of God? Forgiveness is not an attribute of God, because in order to forgive, you must first condemn. Since God has never condemned anyone, forgiveness is not an attribute within the mind of God. This is why we stated earlier that forgiveness is not a natural attribute in the mind that understands. It is perfect, whole, and complete. And those are the notes.
I have a thought about what Adriana was asking about what is the nature of dreams and how does it compare to the nature of what we call reality, or at least the awakened state of the body mind that we play out with on the game board, Tom's game board. I want to play Monopoly sometime with you, Tom. In a dream, and I'm just flying with this. I really haven't thought this all the way through, but I do have some thoughts about it. In the dream, there is only one point of view, you, the dreamer. It's very clear. You are dreaming a series of thoughts, a movie being projected in front of you in your mind. You're not in an awakened state, literally speaking. So you don't have the whole picture, but you do have what looks like bodies out there, but clearly in your mind, there are no bodies there. You're in your bed sleeping, or wherever you're sleeping. So it's kind of like a low level. We talk about level confusion. It's a level of reality that has lessons to teach us. And we can take those lessons that we remember from a dream, the activities, the actions, and we can apply the same type of application that we do when we're awake in terms of, is this a thing that I want to follow, or is this a thing that I want to reject? There are options being played out in front of us while we sleep, and they are all in the mind. So that's a level of understanding that we take with us as we are then awake later on. And the interesting thing is that, yes, we see bodies and we can touch bodies, but when we want to communicate, we have to communicate with another mind. And I don't know that, and this is a guess, really. And I'm opening this for anybody else who has any thoughts. Can you communicate realistically in a dream with somebody else as you do when you're awake in our world and you're trying to communicate? And the point that I would make here is that too often we're really communicating body to body rather than mind to mind. Maybe in some cases, body to mind when you're getting punished or something like that. But there's only one point of view in a dream, and when we're awake, we can see others' points of view. And that's, to me, the primary difference. And the lesson of the dream is to recognize that there are other people on the same journey as us, other parts of God, that all need to be forgiven so that we can all come together in the union that we spoke of in today's review. So I'm saying a bunch of words. They may mean something to someone else. They may not mean anything. They mean something to me. And I'd like to see if any of you would like to add to it, subtract, multiply, or divide.
You can't divide. Divide doesn't exist. Separation doesn't exist.
Yeah, and neither does subtraction, right?
Well, dreams are just really a different level of consciousness, of us being able to commune with our uh, higher self, with the realization that we can move out of some of the laws that normally would bind us in time and space and physicality. Because in a dream, you can do things, you can fly, you can do a lot of different things that time and space wouldn't allow. But it's a way of connecting to, if you're aware, and Adriana, she mentioned that she's able to remember her dreams, and that's a skill that can be learned, uh, and it's something that may help you in moving about your day because uh, there's can be a lot of insight gathered from those uh, dreams or whatever, because as someone else said, this is just different forms of illusion anyways. And you can learn, just like you can learn by actually watching a movie as opposed to actually participating in it, you can learn that same lesson. We just another media to help us learn, grow, get in touch, and it also is probably a easier form because our conscious mind is not running its egoic uh, message as much as it might be in the waking state. So, yeah, they're an important thing that tool that you can use to help absorb and learn things. Edison, for example, and this is something that I would suggest before you go to bed at night, and the Course in Miracles is actually telling you this, is to place some problem or some uh, idea that you want your mind to work on while you are in the quote unquote sleep state of the body, because the mind will continue to work on those things. Edison never really slept more than 4 hours in any stretch, but he constantly used his ability or to place a question in his mind, go to quote unquote sleep, and in that sleep state where his conscious beliefs and limitations might prevent him from getting the insight that would lead to a new invention or solve a particular problem or a different way of approaching it. Those insights would be there whenever he would awaken. And that's because we've shut down the egoic mind and are more uh, accessible or more open to the advice from uh, potentially the higher self or from the universe as a whole. So it's an important thing to be aware of. And like I say, you can train your mind to remember your dreams, and you can use that supposed downtime to actually provide great insight for us to, you know, participate in this world and for us to learn and grow. Thank you.
That was good, Tom. I want to add one other thought that occurs to me, and that is that, again, the beginning of this course, it started the moment that Helen and Bill said to each other, there must be a better way. If you're keeping everything in your mind, a dream is a perfect example. Nobody else can even see the dream you're having. Then nothing is going to change. Nothing out there. It doesn't affect anything out there. in what's out there, what we call the real world, where we have skin and bones and meat puppet or whatever we want to call it, that's when people either agree or don't agree with each other. And this course was written because Helen and Bill said there's got to be a better way, because we keep squabbling and supposedly we're experts in psychology. We don't know anything if we can't even figure that part out. So working together made the difference. So even if you go to a movie, Tom, you can sit there. The thing that makes a movie vivid beyond just experiencing the movie is to discuss it with someone else and see if there's some joint lesson that maybe helps us live a better life, help somebody out, or something like that. So it's the joining of the minds, and there's two ways to do that. It's recognizing that in this quote real world that we call the real world, this small r reality, it's best when we join minds and consider things together and work with that. So I don't know how much of that um, is attributed to the actual question that you had, Adriana. I was just thinking about um, on the outside, what is a dream, and how is it different from walking around in a body? So you can let me know if there is
No,
something
in
there.
fact, well, in fact, everything that you said, I mean, it's meaningful. I mean, I totally agree with what you said. It's not different from that, but it has always, for me, my experience, it's weird because then my mind at the next day, if they are dreams that are really intense, my mind at the next day doesn't drop the ideas. So I had to do something with it in order for me to just like focus on other things. Because if I don't follow my instinct on searching meaning out of them, my mind doesn't drop the ideas. I don't know if it's something that I always had with me ever since I was younger or whatever, but it has been like that. So, for example, with this dream, I had, I mean, the second part of my dream that was with the sun having this blast of expansion or something like that, the power grid went off in the city that I was in the dream. And everybody remained like, what happened? Everybody got surprised. And then we start to see like flares coming towards us. And out of the sudden, all my scout, I was a Boy Scout when I was younger. And Colombia, we were all Boy Scouts. There was no difference between girls and boys. So in my dream, all my scouts friends start to appear to gather together to help people around to find shelter, and I was finding my leader and saying, "Well, I'm here. How can I help? How can I serve you?" And he took me to find, and they were giving me instruction. Every single car has a code that open them, and we need to find cars and open the cars to drive people around to shelters and whatever. They were giving me this bunch of instructions, and the only part of the instruction that I can remember is that this guy, the leader of my group, was telling me 555 00444, for example. So those kind of details at the next day, if I don't go and do something with it, they keep, well, I mean, my mind keeps like sticking those. So I was searching, and if, of course, they have beautiful meanings. And then I realized that every single time that I dream has to do with something that I'm experiencing in my emotions, in my own thought process. And this specific dreams, all that I can find about all the symbols in those dreams are about my change, my ending of a process and beginning a new one, and that I'm being guided. I mean, it's just validations of things that I have been experiencing. So it doesn't have to be like the truth, but it's like a fun way to experience dreams and to experience other part of my consciousness. So I don't see it like something special in some form. It's just funny. And for me it's like a game. So I I just follow my intuition when I don't. It's funny because it's like the same dynamics that I have when I get angry now. Ever since I found A Course in Miracles, now when I get angry, when I get like mad about something, I know that nobody outside of me has anything to do with it. It's a message for me, and I need to figure it out, and I need to search the source, the most old source from that anger in order for me to release it. In any circumstance, if it is something with Lee, if it is something with my work, if it is something with my family, whatever it is, if I get mad or if I get sad about something and I don't get to shake the feeling out of me and be in balance again, I need to find the meaning. It's amazing. I mean, it's like a game. It's like going like Indiana Jones finding the the next treasure. So it is what it is. I just found a beautiful meaning on those numbers that I just dreamt about, and it is like that.
So
I don't
be
know.
so when you spend time with Lee, it's just like being with Indiana Jones, huh?
Well, I found my treasure in him, and it's funny. And I gotta tell you something because Lee is the very first male that I get angry with, but I don't get angry at him. We can have a disagreement, but we are not attached to the. I mean,
The
I
outcome.
have never stopped loving him because now I know that my anger is just something that I need to learn. So I don't blame him. I that it's so relieving, that it's so freeing, that it's so like
Me too.
beautiful. I get angry. I can get angry, and of course we have had discussions and conflict but it's funny because I'm not longer like dropping the feeling of love out of my own anger, because now I know that my own anger, even if it is something he triggered, it's my problem. It's something that I need to solve. It's like a puzzle that I need to solve. My best partner now. He's my best mirror. So it's a beautiful thing to have. It's like really like Indiana Jones.
A Course in Miracles says something about nighttime dreams.
Oh yeah.
It's in chapter 18. I can read a little bit of it. It says, dreams show you that you have the power to make a world as you would have it be, and that because you want it, you see it. You do not respond to it as though you made it, nor do you realize that the emotions the dream produces must come from you. It is the figures in the dream and what they do that seem to make the dream, and what they do that seem to make the dream. I read that twice. You do not realize that you are making them act out for you, for if you did, the guilt would not be theirs, and the illusion of satisfaction would be gone. In dreams, these features are not obscure. You seem to waken, and the dream is gone. Yet what you fail to recognize is that what caused the dream has not gone with it. Your wish to make another world that is not real remains with you. They are your protest against reality, and your fixed and insane idea that you can change it. In your waking dreams, the special relationship has a special place. It is the means by which you try to make your sleeping dreams come true. From this, you do not waken. The special relationship is your determination to keep your hold on reality and to prevent yourself from waking. And while you see more value in sleeping than in waking, you will not let go of it. So they're like saying your sleeping and your waking dreams are both the same, that we're just
Yeah.
trying to we're just
Yeah,
trying to make
exactly.
change.
Exactly. That's what I said. Because every single time that my mind doesn't drop it and I go and search for meanings on the symbols, they are related to my own feelings and processes in the waking time. And
Right.
of course, it's another. It's the same food. It's the same ingredients in a different form.
It's the same trying to figure out
Yeah.
that you're actually dreaming.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's true. And it's funny
In
because right
yes,
now, I'm sorry, I just want to share this because what I dream, it's all about like having heaven filled with light in some form or being like expansive. Is the expansion of love by leaving something behind or supposedly disrupting the work that I created. It's coming undone. Remember when I wrote that chapter? I was really interested because of my dynamics with my own dreams. So thank you, Rainbow.
and
It was great.
and I'll thank you also, Rainbow, because chapter 18, I went back to see in section 6, and I had highlighted this, as Lee talks about. The first paragraph says, "There is nothing outside you." That is what you must ultimately learn, for it is in that realization that the kingdom of heaven is restored to you. For God created only this, and he did not depart from it, nor leave it separate from himself. The kingdom of heaven is the dwelling place of the Son of God, each of us, who left not his Father and dwells not apart from him. And I could add, whether it's in a dream or in the body, that entity is there forever. Heaven is not a place or a condition, it is merely an awareness of perfect oneness and the knowledge that there is nothing else, nothing outside this oneness, and nothing else within. That's cool stuff.
I say that all the time. There's nothing outside my mind. There's nothing outside my mind. There's nothing outside my mind. I'm
There's
always
no place
reminding
like
myself
home. There's
about
no place like home. There's no place like home.
Just click your heels.
exactly.
And how's
Oh,
that work for you, Rainbow? Is it good?
did you get your ride home
Wizard
yet?
of Oz. Sorry, the Wizard of Oz is actually,
Oh gosh, it's a great
yeah.
movie. Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about.
absolutely.
Well, I said I
That's why
wouldn't
it
talk.
endures.
Go
Janine, go ahead.
ahead, Jenny. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, Adriana. I'm not at home, so I was trying to be quiet. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm on my headset.
You
Yep.
sound great.
I have mixed feelings about this because,
Yeah, we can.
thank you. I think, like Tom was saying earlier, that dreaming in a dream state, it's another, I think you said another level of awareness or consciousness, perhaps. I don't know that it's just the mind because it feels very real, and a lot of times it's things that don't even make any sense, and it could be based on memory. I just don't know. I'm going to say it like that. I'm reading an interesting book called Spiritual Law, where they talk about astro travel, and it's a very interesting book. And of course, not everybody's going to agree, um, but sometimes I think we could be astro traveling. Yes, it's still us. Like we're outside of the body, though. I think perhaps. Like I had a dream the other night. It had nothing to do with anything. And I was actually meditating within the dream. And I woke up from the meditation within the dream. And I had some like cords around my hands. And I'm not going to go over the whole dream. It was very interesting. And I met this woman, a very interesting woman, and I was talking with her. And I'd never seen anyone like that in my life. And also, I had received these letters, and I was obsessed with getting this letter to someone in the dream. So I just don't know. I'm going to leave it at that with dreaming. And but in this book, Spiritual Law, they talk about this gentleman who would meditate, and supposedly he astral traveled and would meet a guide, and the guide's name was Isaiah. So yeah, he was outside of his body, and he describes how he got to that state from during meditation, where he could actually sense that he had left his body. And since we are not our bodies, we are spirit, we are light and energy. That makes sense to me. So I'm still exploring and still learning, but I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Well, I have always wanted to do that, but I have never managed to do that. I also barely remember my dreams. They seriously, they certainly seem like they would be handy tools for the mind to use to get us through our unconscious beliefs and back into something where we're in control and be able to guide us. So, I got a lot to learn. I'm still here trying to learn, but I appreciate you guys sharing. Anybody who's down below who'd like to come up and share, you're welcome to. And of course, anybody here, you're welcome to share. Just thought we'd get close to a time where we could wrap it up if you want. All good to me.
Well, I'm gonna say goodbye for now because my internet connection here is not so stable, and I have to prepare for a beautiful day at the beach with Vera.
Nice.
So
I'm
so
having
I'm gonna say
networking.
goodbye for
Yay.
now. But
That
but I
sounds like
think I
fun.
think everybody, yeah, yeah, it is. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. This is my last weekend here with her, so I'm gonna make the most out of it. So my connection got lost again.
Have a great time, Adriana. I know we can
Yeah,
still
have a
hear
great
you.
one.
Yeah, enjoy your day,
Good.
Adriana. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, I will. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful Saturday, everybody. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to sign
So,
off as well.
um, I am Rosa, and I very rarely ever remember my dreams. However, I understand that the my spirit travels. And a long time ago, I used to be more vivid in my dreams and remembering them, conversations and things. But lately, the older I get, the less I remember my dreams. However, when I've slept alone for most of my life, and I swear, sometimes when I wake up, it looks as if 4 or 5 people have been struggling in my bed, covers everywhere. And I am so exhausted in the morning sometimes. It's as if I've been battling all night. I do believe in astral travel. I do believe that there are people who have the ability to move spiritually to do something. Um, I recall Edgar Casey and how he traveled to heal people spiritually. Napoleon Hill outwitting the devil, how he had this conversation in his sleep, and it ended up creating that book, Outwitting the Devil. Um, Napoleon Hill also talked about, Einstein talked about dreaming and finding his solutions while he was sleeping. but he didn't sleep that much. He slept about 5 hours a day. So I, I understand this. I have not achieved it, but I accept that it's a possibility to astral travel, to speak to people, spirit, to receive answers from the universe while they're sleeping. I really believe that. I just haven't achieved it. So that
Well, I have to say, in response to that, Rosa, that my sister, who was 15 years my senior, um, she did do it. And the reason I'm saying it is because of what's happened. She passed away, 12 years ago, I believe. But I can tell you that she wrote a book on it, 2 books, about where she went and what's the name of the um, planets and galaxies that she went to. And she described what she saw when she got there and how those beings, um, what they physically looked like. Now, my wife doesn't believe one bit of that. She didn't grow up knowing Greta. Um, her Greta's children absolutely believe it because they experienced a lot of different things that Greta learned when she went there and sometimes came here and inhabited her body. Now that's a lot to swallow because it's not normal, quote unquote. But in this clubhouse, there are some people who say they astral travel or know of people who do and who have gone to that same location in another galaxy called the Ogata group. And they refer to that. Now, Greta's books came out in the 80s, 1980s. She made some predictions in it. She did a lot of different things, said a lot of different things. And so I'm still left wondering, Rosa, to a small degree, did these people read her book and replicate the experience in their own way, having met with some of the same people? Um, I could even say somehow there's a group delusion there, but I have no reason to accept that as an acceptable answer. It does not seem that way to me. Do I have a guarantee? I don't. No, I don't. But when scientists do their science, what they're doing is they're recording what they see in some fashion, what they hear, what they measure, and then other scientists have to corroborate or not what they're seeing in similar situations. So the whole idea of anything as scientific is that it's corroboratable. It can be corroborated through someone else's viewpoint. So did Greta actually go there? Well, she came back with some wisdom that she couldn't have known under any normal circumstances, and she fashioned her life after that. She did healing. Um, she wrote extensively. She talked about Tesla before anybody knew who Tesla was, and it's certainly more than the car. He was a great scientist, but he was a very creative scientist. Edison did, and Tom likes to talk about Edison. Edison had to do, as you say, 1,000 experiments to find out at the end which one actually worked, and the light bulb went off literally and figuratively. Um, what about Greta? Did she create this thing or did she actually experience it? Well, there's many people today who say they do that. They go on a regular basis. I don't know because I'm not in their minds. I'm not in their travels. I'm not a reporter along with them, like a reporter in a battlefield. It will probably remain a question for most of us until somebody scientifically either corroborates it or completely disproves it. Um, and I'm not, just like you, Rosa, I'm not here to say absolutely yes, absolutely no. I do believe that it's possible because of the way I believe that the mind is not a part of the body. So if it's not a part of the body, it can probably choose its own space and time where it wants to be. Um, can I do that? Heck no. But it's an interesting life we live. And what I like about the Course in Miracles, bringing it back for a moment, is that the things that it tells us here are doable, and we can do them and they can change our lives. And that's the most important thing. So that brings me back to Earth, where I am, in the body that I am most of the time, I
The
guess.
meditations we do here every day are a form of astral travel, in my opinion.
Hmm. Well, that would depend upon how you actually do. How would you define astral traveling?
I think it's any time that you bring your awareness outside the body.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, that's where the definition is very important. Um, I wouldn't, I wouldn't have thought to do it that way, but I don't see anything wrong with that. That's actually a very good way of saying, once you leave your body, you can go any place you want, apparently.
Exactly. I also
And
have an opinion that the body is in our mind. It's a projection of the mind.
I'll
So
go
it's
with that.
like if
Mhm.
in my head, if I'm always in my mind, then I'm astral traveling right now.
Well, what color are you at the moment, Rainbow? Are you the blue or the red or the orange?
Well, I have to be all the colors
Oh, okay.
because I'm able to perceive, and I think the perception is the rainbow itself. Like the world itself or perception is the rainbow. It's our projections. So it's like if nothing is outside of the mind and we're perceiving, then we're out of our mind.
Well, there you go. That's terrific.
So if you're actually able to perceive, then you're out of your mind.
I got it. I get it. Russell, you have something to say? You looks like you came up here just recently on the stage.
Good morning.
Good
Basically,
morning.
I'm listening right now,
Good.
talking about the mind and consciousness. I think that, thank you for asking, for sure. Um, how do you think this pertains to the lesson today, this conversation?
Hmm. To the lesson today. Um, Anybody care to answer that one while I think about it?
Yeah,
I,
I
I,
need to
But
marinate
I
on
got
that
kids
one.
yelling around here.
I think it's very relevant, but I
yeah.
can't articulate it at the moment.
So, lesson 141 is a review. Forgiveness is the key to happiness and offers everything I want. Forgiveness being the key to us unlocking our own brain so that we can do everything else that we want to do with it, like astral travel.
There you go. I think I can tell you this, that when Greta wrote about her travels, um, she was teaching, she came back with lessons very similar, like love is our purpose, forgiveness is our function. Those kinds of things were absolutely delivered to her, call it spirit to spirit or traveler to traveler. They happen to have come together in this place far, far away.
I must be off because I thought it was my mind holds only what I think with God, and then I thought the forgiveness part was like categories, but I guess I'm a little off today.
I don't know. I think that it's everything. God is everything, and that everything is just one thing. And we are intrinsically connected to that one. And I guess what these types of discussions do, if we take them in the right um, sense, is that it makes us realize there's so much more that we didn't know before.
No, I meant
And
particularly the lesson itself.
the
My
lesson
mind,
itself,
yeah, my
mm,
mind only holds only what I think with God. I thought that was the lesson, but I
well,
guess it also has the subcategories of the forgiveness part.
mm,
Okay, I see. I'm rereading.
well, I don't know. Let's see. The phrase "my mind holds only what I think with God," that phrase is the lesson, but it is also the lesson all the way from 141 to 149 or 150. In other words, it is to be repeated in each of the two specific lessons. So my mind holds only what I think with God is, again, it's the title of today, of the week, really, or whatever, 10 days. And then in reference to forgiveness is the key to happiness, and forgiveness offers everything I want. So it kind of tells us that all of those two thoughts, at least here, are us thinking with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. Tomorrow, we're going to start with my mind holds only what I think with God, and there'll be two other previous lessons that we will see. So, in all cases, it's all the mind and how it relates to God and how it is a piece of God, and we're not separate from it. So, it's like the fundamental truth of A Course in Miracles that we are not ever separate. We only think at times that we're separate and we can hide things and so on and so on.
I see.
So I
Thanks for
think,
that clarification. I see now.
yeah, yeah. Now I noticed that because I was looking. Oh, that's funny. In the workbook for students in the purple book, it's on page 1234, 1234. That's where these all these lessons are laid out. It's really clear. Um, my mind holds only what I think with God. We're going to remember that thought every day until we have reviewed all the last lessons and we come to lesson 151, and we will be starting with something new. But my mind holds only what I think with God is kind of an overarching idea. That's about it for me, too. I'm going to go and do other things with my body and just try and remember all of the things for today. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything to me that I want. Thank you all for being here. Lee, if you want to close the room in your own special way, come do it.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Yes, everyone have a great, fantastic
Namaste.
Make it a
Oh,
great weekend. Love and light.
everybody have a wonderful one. Here comes my special way. It's coming. I'm special.